Looks like we're streaming live on YouTube though. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for being here over here on Instagram. I got my whole setup over here. I got YouTube, Zoom, and Instagram. Okay, so great. Well, hi. All right, I think we're live everywhere. Fabulous. Hi, everyone. I'm Kyle Kittleson. I'm the host at MedCircle. Hopefully you can hear me and see me okay, because we did have some technical difficulties this morning getting this situated. But in lieu of a live class with one of our doctors, which is what we typically do each week for our MedCircle members, I'm going to jump in and share a little bit about what I've learned being the host at MedCircle. I consider this position interviewing the world's greatest minds in mental health, psychologists, psychiatrists, really experts, not only in the field of mental health, but in their own specific niche, a true privilege. And over the years, I have really done a lot of sit downs with the powers that be, Dr. Romney, Dr. Judy, Dr. Dom, Dr. Dwyer, Dr. Christy Lamb, Dr. Ish Major, Dr. Jenny Yip, Dr. Sarah Orick. I mean, the list goes on, plus tons of patients and survivors as well. And I've also attended every single live class that MedCircle has ever put on. So I have a unique perspective on mental health, I think, and I'm going to share it with y'all today. We are live on YouTube, we're live on Zoom, and we're live on Instagram. So we're hitting all our angles today, which means we're probably broadcasting to a combination of people. Some of you are likely MedCircle members. It's nice to see you again. Some of you might be on your trial with MedCircle, and I hope you're enjoying that trial so far, and I hope we end up being a right fit for you long term. And some of you might be going, I don't know who this guy is and why he thinks he deserves me to listen to him, and I get that too. If you find any of this interesting or informative today, I invite you to go to medcircle.com and start your own trial. Mental health education really is a game changer. And it's one that I think most people don't realize is right available at their fingertips. I think a lot of people are really looking for that new therapy, that new treatment, that new drug. And those are great and wonderful, and keep looking for that. But don't forget to get educated on the very thing we're trying to tackle, fight, overcome, move through, etc. It really is the difference maker. And the only way for you to realize it's the difference maker is for you to experience the difference. There's no amount of like, oh, we could just tell you this and show you this, and you can hear other people. You have to experience it for yourself. And I actually just went through this. I saw a new psychiatrist, and I went through one of the virtual psychiatry things. Has anyone ever done that when you've done any of the teletherapy, telepsychiatry? It was actually pretty great. At first I thought this is gonna not be great, but it was actually really convenient. Anyway, I really saw again how this education on mental health I have helps me, because I was not working. Typically when I sit across from a doctor before MedCircle, I would sit there and just answer their questions and be at their mercy. It was not collaborative. They ask me something, I say the answer. They ask me another thing, they say the answer. They give me a form to fill, I fill it out. I didn't know where we were going with the line of questioning, what the purpose was of all of it, what the end goal was. But because I have this education now, this last go around, it was very collaborative. I knew why she was asking what she was asking. Okay. I knew why we were doing it in this order, and that's because I have a very good understanding of mental health, like I had never had previously. Okay, so enough about me just chatting away here. I think we got questions too. So let's try to, I don't know how many, let's see. Keep in mind there are YouTube questions too. Fab. All right, so the team watching, please send me the YouTube questions because I can't see those. So let's go to the first thing that I've learned. from working at MedCircle. The first thing I've learned is that you are not your thoughts. This is a concept from ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy. Now, a lot of people somebody asked me why I'm not wearing my glasses, and I actually wish I was wearing my glasses right now, but I can't find them. I have a slight prescription, but I mostly use them for blue light and the aesthetic. Okay. I mean, who doesn't want to look like they're a little smarter because they're wearing glasses? So CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is something that I didn't learn until my first week at MedCircle. And that's really alarming to me because I was diagnosed with depression at the age of 9. And I have seen more therapists, psychologists, and psychiatrists that I can count because I have moved so many times. So I've had to establish new relationships with my mental health team many times. And not one of them brought up CBT. Now, that doesn't mean I wasn't practicing CBT in therapy. I just didn't know about it. And I didn't understand how it worked. I didn't know the connections between your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. So not only that, but then from CBT is this other type of therapy called acceptance and commitment therapy. And there are many different hallmarks to it. We have a great series on it, maybe in the YouTube chat and on Zoom. We can drop a link to directly to that series so people can watch. If you're on Instagram, it's watch.medcircle.com. But that the ACT combines a lot of the evidence-based CBT elements, but it also brings in some Eastern philosophies of mindfulness, for example. And one of them is that you are not your thoughts. And it's such a obvious thing, like, oh yeah, well, we already knew that. But it's different than just hearing it, than really putting it into practice. And that's where ACT really helped me understand that I'm not my thoughts. And it's through this really easy exercise. By the way, I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be a doctor. This is not mental health advice. I cannot treat, diagnose. MedCircle educational sessions are for educational purposes only. I'm just sharing my opinion. It is my opinion. So consult with your own doctor before you do anything. Okay. But through this very simple exercise, which is first understanding the thought that you're having. So the thought could be, Bridget's our producer. Bridget is mad at me because I was late for this live class. I wasn't late, by the way. But let's just say that's the thought I'm having. Oh God, Bridget's mad at me because I'm late for this live class. Okay, might be true, might be not, I don't know, but it's the thought that I'm having. A simple acknowledgement of, okay, I'm having a little anxiety around this thought. Let's slow down a little bit. And then reframing the thought to, I'm having the thought that Bridget is mad at me for being late to the live class. Being able to put that prefix of I'm having the thought before the thought allows you to look at your thought rather than looking from the thought. Now, when Dr. Judy first explained this to me, I was like, okay, could you slow down? Because I don't get it. She's like, I know it's sometimes not easy the first time. So if right now it's like, oh my God, this is too much, I get it. But it's the idea that because we are not your thoughts, we can then say, I'm having the thought that Bridget is mad at me. Oh, okay, I'm having that thought. I, Kyle Kittleson, am having that thought. Not Kyle Kittleson is experiencing anger from Bridget being mad at her because I have that thought. Thoughts do not necessarily mean they're true. They're just thoughts. I could go on and on about that, but that concept alone, think of how many times today you could just use that. Like you're going home and you go, oh gosh, I have to have that conversation with my husband tonight. He's going to be so annoying. I'm having a thought that tonight my husband's going to be so annoying. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Like already you're just going, oh, that's just the thought. It's a mental event. You're going to have, I forget, there's some studies that say you've got, 60,000 thoughts a day or something. You're going to have a ton of them. So let's be cognizant as possible to respond to the ones that are worth responding to and more intentionally observe the ones that may come up that are causing us stress, because they might just be a quick mental event that means nothing. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's take some questions from YouTube. What have you learned that helps you cope with depression? You are not your thoughts. Mindfulness as well. I'll probably talk about that in a little bit. Have you ever encountered core beliefs that's directed to others or the world instead of yourself, or do you always end up with self-directed core beliefs? I probably have both. You know, there's a core belief that I'll talk about in a little bit that could, that will probably answer that question better. When did I meet Dr. Ramani? Dr. Ramani is one of our clinical psychologists. You've probably seen her talk about narcissism. However, she's talked about anxiety, depression, personality disorders, and more on our channel and in our membership. I met Dr. Ramani when, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. I was hired by MedCircle to come do a, they're like, come and interview this doctor we found. I was like, okay. So I show up at Dr. Ramani's house where she was living at the time. And I was like, hey, I'm Kyle. She was like, I'm Dr. Ramani. I'm like, cool. And we filmed 3 or 4 videos on narcissism, psychopathy. I don't know. I think that was it. And that was it, right? It was just me, the director, Darren, and our producer, Bridget. I met Darren that day. I think I might have even met Bridget that day. I mean, it was just very, very quick. I didn't think twice about it. I thought, I'm going to interview this woman, and then I'll never see her again, and then I'll move on with my life. And I do the interview, and then the video got posted, and it went to like 8 or 9 million views. I'm trying not to say like incorrectly. So if you hear me say that, call me out. So it went to 8 or 9 million views, and they came back and said, hey, we should make more videos, you know, with you and her and on this topic, and we'll find other doctors, et cetera. And that kind of started the snowball. But it's actually funny. If you go watch that video right now, okay, it's on YouTube still. It keeps cutting to me. Like the shots keep cutting to me. And every time it cuts to me, my face is like, whoa, you know, or I can't believe it. I mean, it looks like I've never heard someone speak English to me, you know, and it was certainly I made all those faces, but it was cut in a way to make it look like I was really shocked. And so we always laugh about this video internally, because if you read the comments, everyone's like, why is that guy freaking out over, you know, it's just funny to go watch. I mean, it really is funny if you go watch it, because the way it is cut together. Okay, so let's see. So that's that. What do you think about subconscious belief therapies? I'm going to talk about subconscious beliefs in a little bit. Hi, I find the laddering technique very useful and to get to the core belief. However, I'm finding it difficult to restructure any thoughts afterwards. Any guidance? I am not qualified to guide you on that. Okay, I am literally a person who took Psych 101 in college. I just happened to have this intense education because of the nature of my work today, but that does not make me qualified to give you guidance on that. I would work with a therapist. Now, what I have done, or what I believe to be true, is that you're saying you're finding difficulty restructure your thoughts afterwards. Duh, yeah, of course. It's freaking hard. Okay, your brain is hard. It's a hard muscle to strengthen and condition. Strengthen and condition. So I get that. Don't give up. Just practice. Don't think that because you're not getting the results that you want day one or after one laddering exercise that you're not making progress. Okay. Remember the metaphor of a plant. You put a seed under the dirt, cover it up, you water it, you give it sunshine, you don't see anything happening. That doesn't mean you stop watering it and stop giving it sunshine, because you know something's happening. And then eventually you can see the results when the plant goes through. That's working on your mental health. So you know how many times I've been to therapy for weeks, sometimes months, and I'm like, is this even doing anything? Or am I just shelling out money and wasting my time? And then one day you go in, you have this breakthrough moment, and you're like, the seed sprouted. Hopefully that made sense. What do you think about those who think mental illness is a cultural construct and could be cured by environment and context? Well, I think environment and context certainly can help. Mental illness, mental struggles, mental health disorders. Environment's huge. But I don't think too much about people who are coming into the mental health space with a belief that it's not real or that people should, quote, get over it. I don't run into a lot of those people. It's probably because I am in a space where, I mean, I'm assuming everyone watching this believes in mental health. Okay. I mean, you believe depression is a real disorder that some people live with and suffer with. You believe bipolar disorder is a real disorder that people live with. So I'm assuming we're all kind of on the same page there. Speaking of environment, if you're in an environment where everyone is gaslighting your mental health, that's probably, I would imagine, not a healthy or not a fun place to be. As much as we protect what we allow ourselves to watch, listen to, read, we should do the same with the people in our lives, probably to more. Okay, I'm going to not answer any more questions to get to the second point here. And thanks for all the comments. It's very, very sweet. I would love to see in the comments on, well, every platform, if you are not a member, not a MedCircle member, put NOM, NOM, not a MedCircle member. If you're on a trial, just give me a capital T so we can see, all right, you're on a trial. Awesome. Hope you're enjoying your free trial at MedCircle. And then if you're a MedCircle member, give me an MM, double M, MM for the MedCircle members. Want to see it. Over on Zoom, we have some noms. Welcome. Welcome to the Zoom, even though you're a nom. And then we got a lot of MedCircle members on Zoom. Nice to see you guys. Oh, someone's on their trial. Excellent. Great. Wow. Now look at over here on Instagram. Nobody's a member. Oh no, we got some members coming in. All right. Very nice. I can't see YouTube right now, but I know Bridget's reading the YouTube comments. If you are not a MedCircle member, I say don't even become a member yet. Go start your trial. See if you like it first. Okay. You know, this is not the space to pressure people to do anything. Yes, MedCircle costs money. Joe on Instagram just asked that. We have a free YouTube channel, of course. We have lots of free resources. And if money is an issue, I don't want to let that get in the way of you getting mental health education. Email Mandy, support@medcircle.com. See if she can get you a discount or something. But we offer a 1-week free trial, and then you can choose a $20 a month membership or $120 a year. So there you go. All right, let's go to the second one, because I only got through one so far. That's not good. Okay, number 2. These are things that I've learned interviewing psychologists and psychiatrists. Subconscious self-sabotage. All right, let me tell you this story, okay? I am in a 3-part, we're filming a 3-part series with Dr. Ramani, clinical psychologist, and Grace Smith, who is a certified hypnotherapist. Phenomenal stuff they both do. And we were talking about the subconscious in general. And then we started to talk about subconscious self-sabotage. And I won't bore you with the story on how we got here, but I came to the conclusion that through my whole life, I've always presented when I put on clothes as like a slob, basically. I dress like I'm going to my couch, okay? I have sweatpants, sweat shorts, hoodies, t-shirts, I'm just like comfy all the time. And through this discussion on subconscious self-sabotage, I thought, am I just doing this because it is a self-fulfilling prophecy for me to not find a romantic partner? Because if every time I put myself out in public, I look like I just rolled out of bed, nobody's going to be like, hey, there's my future husband, look at him go. They're going to like, oh my gosh, no, thank you. And then I can tell myself, oh, well, this is why, I don't have anybody. And it's because I subconsciously am pushing people away from coming up to me because I'm presenting myself in such a less attractive way. Now, look, I don't know if this is true or not, but the idea, I think it is, by the way, the idea that for years I could be in my own way in such a deliberate way was really eye-opening to me, because we're all very familiar with the typical self-sabotages, right? Like, look, I'm drinking Red Bull right now. This is probably not the healthiest choice, but I'm tired, so I'm drinking it. Okay. Is that a form of self-sabotage? Maybe, I don't know. We also have I'm going to start a diet on Monday, but then you eat a cheeseburger, or I'm going to get to bed early and then you stay up late watching Netflix. All of these are for me, versions of self-sabotage. But I'm more aware of them. I'm like, okay, yeah, I should go to bed right now, but I'm going to watch one more episode. So there's awareness that allows me to be kind of okay with that. It's when you don't know you're self-sabotaging yourself. Dang. When you don't know that you're the reason that this thing isn't happening for you. Oh my gosh. That's such a big shift in your thinking. Because then you start to ask yourself, well, what else am I doing? And I think that's really the appeal and the fascination with the subconscious. And we recently did a series. Oh, Bridget or Mandy, do you think you can put the link to that class in the chat? We did a series on psychodynamic therapy with Dr. Christy Lamb. She's a psychiatrist out in San Diego. And psychodynamic therapy is a therapy that's really designed to get into your subconscious. And it's pretty incredible. I went on a hunt to go find a psychodynamic therapist in my city and could not find one, unfortunately. Or at least I couldn't find one that I could afford. There was 2 of them, but they only did it teletherapy, which I did not want to do. I'm not against teletherapy. I just didn't want to do it. And it was like so much money. So, but anyway, that doesn't mean that's the only solution. Go watch that series on psychodynamic therapy. We have a 4-part series on tackling your subconscious. It's really great. Excellent. Let's go to some more questions. What would you tell someone whose mental health and lack of support make it hard to get help? A catch-22. Yeah. As soon as I heard that, I hear behavioral activation. A lot of us, myself included, we wait for the feeling of feeling better or feeling motivated or feeling up to the challenge to do the challenge. And sometimes you just have to do the thing. You just have to do the behavior, even when you don't feel like it. And then what you'll find is when you do the behavior, then you'll feel good afterwards. And so how that could apply here is, if you have a lack of support, so it's hard to go get support because you don't have a lot of support. It's almost saying, do you have that one person though? Do you have that one person who you'll call? Can you tell them? Do you feel comfortable enough telling them, hey, I need some support? Or, hey, can you help me get a nice supportive community together? During Mental Health Month, which was in May, we did a whole week of interviews with survivors and patients. And one reoccurring thing that they all said when I asked them what helped them get through whatever their challenge was, an eating disorder, depression, relationships, suicidal ideation, etc., all of them said, well, it was really important to get informed and get educated because I didn't know what I was talking about. It was, therapy was really helpful. And some of them said, I'm on a medication and that's helpful. But they all said what really helped was having that community. So if you don't have that community, go get it, go find it. There is a community out there for everybody. Tether is a really great app for community support for men. I don't know if they have a woman or other gender, vertical for that. But there's other avenues out there for that. So that would be my recommendation. Okay, how has being more informed about mental health affected how you deal with others, whether they are strangers you come into contact with or close personal relationships? Yes. I say if you're single and about to date or dating and you don't have a MedCircle membership, you are doing yourself a disservice. You learn so much about yourself, relationships, and others by watching the stuff MedCircle puts out. It really is a relationship tool. That is actually one of the real things I use MedCircle for is a relationship tool. I went to dinner last night with some friends I hadn't seen in a long time. And I was able to connect with them faster and understand them better, or at least I felt like I understood them better because of the education I have in mental health. When you learn about personality disorders, and there are 10 of them, I think we all have a little bit of those to us at some point, somewhere on a spectrum. It doesn't mean we all have a personality disorder. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying some of the symptoms. Like if you look at borderline personality disorder and there's a fear of abandonment. Well, haven't we all felt some fear of abandonment in our lives? Maybe it's not to the point where it's, dysregulating our mood or causing us any issues. So I'm not saying it's as severe, but it's still something you can relate to. It's still something you can see as a top note in others sometimes. And when you see it for what it is, rather than making it about you, it really makes things better. Because how often had I been in a grocery store and somebody rubbed me the wrong way, or I thought somebody was rude, and I think, oh God, they're just so rude, blah, 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 blah. Well, now when I see that rudeness or I see that that outburst, I typically don't go, oh, they're rude, even though they might be rude. I'm typically thinking, I wonder what they're dealing with, or I wonder what struggle they're going on, or I wonder what they are coping with by having this outburst here. It moves it from a place of empathy much quicker when you have this mental health education. And it doesn't give permission to people to walk all over you. What it does is it frees you from making their outburst about you. If you know my dog Callie, okay? My dog Callie is the nicest dog in the whole world. I mean, she is just happy as can be. This woman was outside my building a few months ago, and Callie was wagging her tail and like looking at her, and the woman's like, "That dog looks very aggressive. Please control your dog." And I'm literally going, my dog is wagging its tail and smiling, And I go, "Oh, okay, I got her. She's friendly. Okay, well, sir, you need to control your dog." And I'm like, oh, "Okay." So I could feel myself going, did this woman just tell me to control my dog? Like that anger. And then I thought, well, I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know if she struggles with something else and this is how it's manifesting. I don't know if she has a past trauma with a dog and she's working through that. I just don't know. But whatever it is, and it's not my job to know anyway, whatever it is, it's not about me. Her issue with my happy dog has nothing to do with me. So old Kyle would have spent all day going, if I ever see that woman again, I'm going to tell her blah, 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 blah. And if she comes, like, that's what I would be saying in my head. Now I just go, oh, I hope she figures out what she needs to figure out. And I got to go to lunch, that's it. Okay. Hopefully this is helpful. I don't know. How many people are watching on YouTube? Can someone tell me? Okay. Let's go to another question and then I'll go to my third part. Great. Opportunity to, okay. Had it not been for MedCircle, living in a country like India and not to a very small town, I would not have been able to find help and community. Can't thank you enough. Fabulous. India, I am learning, really does have a mental health crisis. We have just substantially lowered our prices in India so that more people can access MedCircle. So if you know someone in India, if you're in India, you can share MedCircle with them. We've made it incredibly affordable. Cool. Let's go to my next thing, my learning here, what I've learned. This is really fun, by the way, because normally I just sit here and ask the doctor questions, y'all's questions, and now I get to answer your questions. It's fun for me, to not just ask the questions, but to answer them. Okay, number 3, where are all the introverts? I want to see in the comments the letter I, if you're an introvert, the letter E, if you're an extrovert, if you're an ambivert, and you know what that is, or an omnivert. I think there's 2 others. You can let me know. But I want to know where the introverts or extroverts are. Oh, yeah, we got a lot of I's in the Zoom chat. Got an ambivert in there. Oh, lots of introverts. There's an extrovert. Let's look over here on Instagram. Lots of eyes. I'm assuming on YouTube it's mostly eyes as well. Oh, Ashanti, you're an extrovert. Nice. Okay, a lot of introverts. A lot of introverts. All right, y'all. We're a team of introverts here. You've got to stop thinking that that means you're less than an extrovert. I'm an introvert. I said that like, oh, if I'm an introvert, then well, of course, like, of course, how could we be less? But I just meant it's being an introvert does not mean you have social anxiety. I'm going to forget her name. I think her last name's Hernandez. So I'll call her Miss Hernandez, but she's one of Dr. Ramani's, she was a student, but now they work together. And she did a lot of research on introversion. And she had this great soundbite in our series on introversion. Maybe we can post that in the chat as well, where she said, introversion is your way. Social anxiety is in your way. Okay. Social anxiety is in your way. It's keeping you from living. Okay. Introversion is your way. It's how you prefer to move through the earth, through the world. You got to get rid of the guilt with being an introvert if you have any. I had tons. I mean, the guilt I would have sitting at home watching TV is laughable. How guilty I felt doing that. The guilt I would have saying no to a public activity, you know, a concert or something that just, I go, oh God, if I have to go do that, I'm going to be like too much. It was overwhelming how much guilt I put on myself. And so you have to really learn about what introversion is. You have to learn about what it is not. You also have to learn about extroversion as well. And you have to learn what type of introvert you are. If you're an introvert and you've not learned about introversion, come on. This is the whole point. This is the point, guys, of MedCircle. If you're an introvert and you've not learned about introversion, you're doing yourself a disservice. If you have a child with ADHD and you've not learned about ADHD, I think you're doing that child a disservice. If you are living with depression and you don't know what depression is, you don't know what therapies treat depression, you don't know how an SSRI works, you don't know the difference between a psychiatrist or a psychologist, you don't know if ketamine should be, explored or not, whatever the questions are, and there are many, you're doing yourself a disservice. That's the power of education. You know, that saying knowledge is power is true. Being knowledgeable, though, does take work. I think that's something that's important to mention with MedCircle. MedCircle does not, it's not magic. You don't get a MedCircle membership and then understand depression. You get a MedCircle membership and you get the easiest way that I have found to learn about depression. You get trustworthy, credible sources to understand these concepts, but you got to go and understand. It's got to be worth it to you. You've got to ask yourself that why. Why am I doing this? You know, I was 31 when I first learned about cognitive behavioral therapy, and I was diagnosed with depression when I was 9 years old. Think about how my life would have been different if at even nine, I started learning about depression. Or if at 9, my therapist started teaching me about depression, or my parents had gone and learned about depression and taught me about it. Oh my God. If they could teach me about the relationships between my thoughts, my feelings, and behaviors, if they would have taught me I'm having the thought that, even at 10, I think I could have understood that concept. Maybe not, I don't know. But the point is think how different it could be. Well, don't fall into the mistake in going, man, I heard that guy on YouTube tell me about, I should probably learn about bipolar disorder because da, da, da. Well, and then you don't, and then you wait 20 years and then you're like, oh, I should have done that. Think about where I could be today. You know, this is the only way to prove to you that this is valuable is for you to go experience the value for yourself. But enough about that. Let's go to some more questions. What do you think about this type of introvert who has never had an intimate, healthy friend in his or her life? Many people feel they are incapable of achieving healthy relationships. Well, I mean, again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm literally a person on the street. You're asking just their opinion too. But just because an introvert has never had a healthy relationship in their life, that doesn't mean it's because they're an introvert. They could be an introvert who's never had a healthy relationship, but it probably doesn't mean it's because they're an introvert. It probably means there's something else going on. I don't think that's the point. Like, I would rarely point at introversion as the reason somebody can't have a relationship. Maybe they would have a more difficult relationship with somebody who had an opposite personality style from them, or chooses to spend their time differently for them. But introversion alone does not make that. There's got to be something else going on. Okay. If you have any questions, you can put them in the, wherever you're typing, and then they'll send them over to me. Okay. Number 4. I did not realize until I started interviewing all these psychologists and psychiatrists how often my responses to my environment are actually in some way a response to something that happened in my past. For example, when I was in college, I met my best friend. We were friends for a long time. And then after college, we stopped being friends. And the reason we stopped being friends is because my friend had decided that me being gay was an issue for her because it was in conflict with her religious beliefs. And that was really devastating and very sad for me, and also very confusing because we had been friends for so long, and then this new realization on her end occurred, and I lost a really influential person in my life. Well, you think, okay, well, I got through that right now. I'm not sad about that anymore. I can move forward. And then great, but you don't realize that even when you say you're over it and you got over it and you're moving forward, that you're still going to carry that with you, and you're still going to make decisions with that in mind, even if you don't realize it, that it's in your mind. So one example of this is how I have subconsciously, going back to your subconscious, treated people who tell me they have a religious faith. And look, I'm not saying I treat people poorly, but I hesitate. So let's say you're religious, okay? And we meet at a restaurant. You come up to me and you're like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And I'm like, hi, what's your name? And you go, Martha. I'm like, hey, Martha, I'm Kyle. She's like, hey, Kyle. I go, what are you doing? She goes, oh, we just got back from church. Immediately I hear that and like walls go up, because, and when this happened, it doesn't really happen that much anymore ever since I realized this, but when this happened, I knew my walls were going up, but I didn't realize from what. I just knew this was my reaction. And I would purposely keep Martha to a distance because I was afraid that if Martha learned who I was, knowing that she is a religious person, that she would not like me, not want to be friends with me, say something mean to me, whatever. Well, that's so ridiculous, because why should I judge Martha based on the behavior of my friend from 15 years ago? I shouldn't. It's not fair to Martha. It's not fair to me, because what if I like Martha? And then I lose out on a great relationship because I'm holding baggage from my past. And we all probably know that we hold baggage from our past. Like, nobody's like, no, I don't think I do that. We all do that. But it's when we don't realize it's coming up in our behaviors that really blows my mind. That's so fascinating to me, that for years I had purposefully avoided and kept at an arm's reach people who I thought wouldn't like me because of their religious beliefs, because of one traumatic experience when I was younger. So then you start to think, what else do I hold on to that's keeping me from that new job, that new relationship, that new goal, that new achievement that is rooted in some unresolved, unprocessed trauma? And I also want to say, I don't think my friend not wanting to be friends with me is some major traumatic experience or event, but it certainly for me is one of the one of it goes on the list for me as a traumatic event, because there was maybe nobody more important to me than this person. And then they told me we couldn't be friends because of something of innocuous as about my sexuality and something they already knew. It was very bizarre. It was such a hard thing for me to go through. And look, I understand there are bigger traumas and blah, blah, blah. People get into like this trauma. What's the word? Like, we got to see who has the best trauma or the worst trauma, you know? And that's not the point. Okay. It's like, I read something the other day on Instagram. Ugh, I hate social media, but I was on Instagram. And it said, if someone drowned in a 50-foot pool or a 7-foot pool, and another person drowned in a 7-foot pool and one person drowned in a 50-foot pool, they both drowned. Okay. It doesn't mean the person who drowned in a 50-foot pool had a worse drowning. Maybe, but they both drowned, you know? And so it's not a competition here who has the worst trauma. Let's go to another question. Can books help provide cognitive behavioral therapy for the mentally ill people who can't afford money to get treatment? I'm not a therapist. I can't advise on treatment. CBT workbooks get really great reviews. Almost all of our doctors at some point have recommended a workbook of some kind. If you go on Amazon, there's tons. And here's the thing with CBT too. Remember, don't just think it's CBT and then it's everything. I mean, if you have insomnia, there is CBT for insomnia. If you have a trauma, there is trauma-informed CBT. There are niches for these. So if there is something specific you're going for, see if there is a niche workbook for that. That would be my recommendation. Okay, we're gonna go to my last lesson learned here, and then we'll answer some more questions. We're doing great on time. This is supposed to go an hour, right, Bridget? Or Mandy, someone can tell me. Here it is, my top values. Dr. Judy is a triple board forensic and clinical and neuropsychologist. And she really brought home the importance of knowing your values. Do y'all know your values? Now, I know we know what values are, and I know we agree with certain values, but do you know your top values? Like you're like, I know my number one value is honesty. Honesty, transparency. That's my number one value, honesty, transparency. I always lead every chance I get with honesty and transparency. I try to be as honest as possible. I mean, you don't ever need to guess what I'm saying, what I'm thinking. I told you, and that is the truth. I can't eat. I mean, it's still, when I meet new people and have new friendships, they go, wow, so you really just say what you mean. I go, yes. Like, you'll never guess. I wonder if Kyle, just ask, I'll tell you. And when I get that in return, I love that. Now, I know that's a big value for me, and it's probably actually, it's probably, this is a little stream of consciousness here. It might be, I might hold too much weight on it. I think it actually might hurt me a little bit because I put such an emphasis on honesty and transparency. But if you don't know your values, there's this great thing called the value card sort. Dr. Judy actually has it on our website. Maybe we can put the link to that from her website into the chat. But it's really important to learn what maybe, I don't know, your top 3 values are, because here's why. Then when you need to make a decision and you go, I don't know how to make this decision, make it from the place of your value. So if your value is adventure, you love adventure, and you and your friends are trying to figure out what to go do this weekend, well, make a decision based on that value of adventure. If your value is community, then make a decision for the weekend to be with your community. Be intentional with those decisions. Most of us don't do that. You'd be like, okay, well, that makes sense. I'll do that. Okay, fine. But most of us don't do that. What we do is, all right, what did I get invited to this weekend? This or this? Do I like that person? And not really, I'm not going to go to that. Do I like this person? Yeah, I'll see them. I'll go to this. Or we do some version of that. Where were your values in that? You forgot them. You left them over here. Once you know your values, you can it's so much easier to make decisions because you're like, oh, that's in line with my value. Oh, I just met this person. These are my values. Oh, this person is not sharing my same values. Goodbye. It's so easy. It's so easy. So there's lots of applications for this, but it's about getting clear with your values. So Mandy has put that into the chat on Dr. Judy's website. I always promote Dr. Judy's Instagram too. It's really good, guys. And she has a lot of great insight on there. Okay, if you're watching this live and you've not gone to, most people, we did a poll on our MedCircle YouTube channel, and I think like 3,000 or 4,000 people responded to it. And the question was, did you know MedCircle isn't just a YouTube channel and we have a whole membership you can be a part of? And I think like 80% said no. Like most people think MedCircle is a YouTube channel, and MedCircle has a YouTube channel, but MedCircle's real value for you is on our website, medcircle.com and watch.medcircle.com, watch.medcircle.com. You can also go download the MedCircle app. And I was reading the comments the other day and we said, did you know MedCircle has a free app? You can download it. And everyone's like, well, it's free to download, but all the content costs money. Okay. Yes, a lot of the content is only available for MedCircle members. Live classes are typically only available for MedCircle members, but we have a live or a free library of content available on the app and watch.medcircle.com. So there is plenty of free content to watch for you to get a taste of the type of content we put out. And if you watch that and you're like, okay, yeah, I like that. That was informative or helpful, or I could see how I could, utilize that, then go start a trial and access all the content. If you don't like it, just cancel during your trial and then you don't get charged anything. We've made this really easy. Okay. We have plenty of free content for people to consume. That's very helpful and beneficial. I mean, our YouTube library is very large at this point. We have a ton of free content for you to explore without giving us an email or anything. You can just watch it. Go to watch.medcircle.com and you can just watch it. And then if you watch it and go, I don't like that, then you can probably not a match for you, But if you watch and you're like, oh, this is cool, I could get into this, then just go start a trial, try it out. And then if you don't like it, cancel your trial. If you do like it, start a membership and you can cancel it at any time. Or a lot of people, for the summer, people are going out of town and they're pausing their membership. So instead of canceling, they're like, oh, I'm just going to pause this for a month and then I'll come back when school starts and then resume my membership, So we made, and we're continually improving this too. I mean, I don't know how many MedCircle members have been here, for 3 or 4 years, however long the company's been around. But if you have been here this long, like, tell me so I could call you out. But you see how much we've improved. I mean, it's just more content, more ways to access the content, better tech, better customer experiences, better communication. Our support is just all-star. I mean, I've really tried to make this a great experience for people who want or need mental health education. And nobody, maybe somebody out there, but I doubt it, is more of a stickler for good customer service than me. I hate bad customer service. Oh my gosh. I mean, I am it's so easy to be pleasant and nice and helpful. And when you talk to a customer service rep and they act like you're bothering them, it just irritates me. So I don't want anyone to have that experience at MedCircle. If you email support@medcircle.com, I want you to have an amazing customer service experience. And the way we've done that is Mandy is our customer service lead. She sees over it all, and she works with all of our other departments to make sure that if you have a billing question, a membership question, an account question, that you get it answered quickly and timely. And she has the authority to do it all. It's not like, well, I have to check with somebody to see if I'm allowed to do it. She's allowed to do it. Okay, she's just allowed to do it. That's really important to me. The last thing anybody needs when they're getting educated on mental health is to run into a customer service rep who's irritated. Okay, so we're not going to do that. One more question here. You were a dog whisperer before. How did you happen to get into MedCircle and even dream and push to get all this educational support for us? Thank you, by the way. You're very welcome. Well, I was living in LA and I was doing a lot of on-camera work as an animal expert. And then I was asked to do these interviews. And when I moved to LA, I had one goal. I wanted to host a hit TV show on a topic that meant something to me. So when I first moved to LA, I was actually really pushed to do entertainment reporting. and I hated it. I don't like talking to actors about the show they did. And I mean, you're just, to me, I'm just like, okay, so you made $1 gazillion and you did this show, and I'm supposed to ask you what your favorite part of working with the other celebrity is. I mean, it just felt so silly to me. And I know people love that. And by the way, I mean, I have my own slice of celebrity culture that I, obsess over. But for the most part, that's just not of an interest to me. I rather just talk to the actor about the craft of acting rather than all these silly entertainment questions. I just can't stand it. Anyway, that's not the point of your question. The point of your question is, how did this happen? Well, they asked me to, come interview. These videos went viral, and then they said, well, why don't you do a whole bunch of these interviews for us? So then I filmed a ton of them, and then they asked me to come on board as an employee, and I was very excited about that because even though this is not a television show, you can't deny how many millions of people watch MedCircle every single month. I mean, it is just, I still think about that and go, this is incredible. And for me, that is like a little TV show. We need more people to watch MedCircle. Okay. I want 40 million people a month to watch MedCircle. Imagine how great the world would be if 40 million people were watching MedCircle every month. Goodness gracious, it'd be amazing. But the other thing is I wanted to host something that was meaningful. And, no shade on any celebrities. I just don't know how meaningful that is. So animals to me are very meaningful. Mental health is very meaningful. And so this really aligned with what I wanted to do. And so that's why I did that. Okay, cool. All right, let's take some more questions as we wrap out the hour here. If there are any questions on YouTube, Zoom, or Instagram, please ask. Will you bring psychologists how to do psychoanalytic therapy? I'm not exactly sure of your question, but we certainly have a lot of psychologists that could probably speak to that. So if that's a topic you want, you can always suggest topics to us as well. Every time Mandy gets a topic request, or if somebody emails me with a topic request, we actually log it. We see if that request has been made by somebody else or previously. If it has, we indicate that. And then when we create our content plans for the future, we look at those requests and make some decisions based on those numbers. So we do look at them and we do make decisions from them. Will MedCircle be returning to face-to-face sessions with the doctors, or are you planning to stay online? Thank you. We are planning to do face-to-face in-person videos with not only the doctors, but with other patients, other organizations, and other advocates. I'm hoping that towards the end of the year, we will be filming in person a lot. That being said, we do have content that has already been filmed and just not released. So it's not as though we can't put out new content. We have been putting out new content and will continue to do so, even though we are not actively filming at the moment. And what will stay virtually, though, is our live classes. Those we will continue to do virtually. And you see how nice my setup is? I mean, you can't see it on Instagram, but on Zoom and YouTube, like, this looks nice. We got better sound, we got lights. We sent, not all of our doctors, but a lot of them, we sent them all of this tech for them to set up in their offices or in their home, so that when they're doing live classes for us, the audio and sound just look as good as television. Because it needs to look good, Alexithymia is a great topic that is on our list. I know that. I just said my Amazon, her name, and she just talked. Where do you go to get help with DID? Well, I would go see a mental health professional in your area. We have a series with Encina Severa who's living with DID, and we actually just filmed something with Dr. Judy on DID. So that should be out later this year. But we have please put this in the group chat, medcircle.com/provider. We created a very large guide that is very in-depth with lots of resources for anybody who's looking for a mental health professional, medcircle.com/provider. And Finding a therapist or the right mental health professional is not fun. I cannot sugarcoat that. I have done it a lot because I've moved so many times. So every time I go to a different state, I have to establish a relationship with a new provider, and they are booked, or they don't return your phone calls, or the executive assistant is, like, well, they're not taking new patients right now, but I can put you on. I mean, and you're struggling with your mental health, and then you have to go find somebody to help you with your mental health, and it's not easy or fun. And if anything, if you don't have a mental health problem before finding a therapist, you will after, because finding a therapist is going to cause you stress, anxiety. Oh my gosh, it's just awful. Okay. So I don't have a solution on how to make that easy yet. We're working on it. Okay. But right now we have this guide. That's the best we can do. medcircle.com/provider. What's important though is don't let the obstacles and the frustration that come with finding a provider stop you from finding a provider, because there is a provider out there. I've always found one. Okay. Sometimes I've had to go through a couple, but I've always found one that I go, okay, I can work with this person. This is good for me. I feel good about this. This seems right. Okay. Any other questions? Someone's asking, how are you doing? Doing great. Thank you for asking, over here on Instagram. All right. So now I'd like to ask, if you are not starting a trial, this will just be good for me to know. If you're not starting a trial, why not? I won't try to convince you, but my thing is not to convince people to join MedCircle. My boss would probably be like, isn't it though? My thing is to let people know that MedCircle is an option for them. And then you get to decide if MedCircle's for you. I don't get to decide if MedCircle's for you. You get to decide that, but it's my job to let you know, like, hey, this is an option for you. Come check it out. Okay. I don't see any comments because I can't see the YouTube comments. Somebody says they're broke. I get it. Okay. I have been freaking broke. Someone's starting their trial today. Excellent. We have lots of free resources. If anything, I would say, if you don't start a trial, and we also offer discounts for professionals, healthcare workers, teachers, nurses, doctors, military. It just goes on and on and on. We probably have a discount for you. So just email Mandy, support@medcircle.com. We can only discount monthly memberships though. It's a restriction with our system. But we do have those discounts available. So, but get on our email list. Our email list provides articles. It prompts you with live classes that are coming up. And although the majority of our classes are for MedCircle members only, and the reason we do that is because MedCircle members have the ability to ask questions during the class to the doctors or whoever the guest is. It's not treatment, it's education. And we don't want 30 billion people in these classes, because then no one will get their questions answered. So we have member-only classes as a perk for being a MedCircle member. But we do, I don't know, probably every 6 weeks or something, like a live free class. So get on our email list so you can take advantage of those, read articles, and we do send out free videos. And during Mental Health Month, we had a lot of promotions and stuff. So if you weren't on our email list, then you should get on it now. Okay. Well, this is great. I think we're all good. This was really fun. I told my team, I go, y'all, no one is going to show up to watch me talk. I'm not a doctor. And I don't know how many people were on YouTube, but hopefully more than 10. And I see the numbers on Zoom and Instagram, and there's people here. So I feel very warm and fuzzy that anyone would show up to listen to what I have to say about this. It's very sweet. So thank you for being here, and shout out to the MedCircle members who are just so phenomenal. You guys hear this in the live classes, but almost without exception, the doctors always talk about how good the questions are, because they do lots of, talks and seminars and stuff. And they're like, I'm telling you, Kyle, when you give me MedCircle member questions, I know they're going to be good questions. And I go, yeah, because they educated. Okay. They educated, honey. Thank you. You guys are all very great. My dog Callie is ready for me to go play with her. I want you to remember just one thing, because this really is the one thing. Whatever you're going through, you got this. Whatever it is, you got it. And it doesn't mean it's not going to suck. It doesn't mean you're not going to cry. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. But whatever you're going through, you got it. You got it. You got it. And you know you got it because you're here today. And this is not the first obstacle you've been through. In fact, it might be the same obstacle you've been dealing with. And you're here today. You got this. Thanks for being here, everybody. See you on the next one. Bye.